Hello and welcome back. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers. And in today's video, we're going to go through investigating with ELK, which is something that I've actually never even heard of before. So I'm pretty excited about this one. This is through tryhackme. We are on the pathway for security information and event management, or excuse me, we're on the SOC level 1 pathway, and we're in the module for security information and event management. And we did the introduction to SIEM in the last video, and in this video we're going to go into investigating with ELK. So this should be exciting. We're about to learn some cool things, I think. Before we get started on the room, just want a quick reminder, if you learn anything from me, if you've learned anything from my channel, or if you're gonna learn, or if you like these videos or anything of the sort, I invite you to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and of course leave a comment, because two things happen when you do that. Number one, the YouTube algorithm helps find our channel easier. We get more reach, we expand the community, and we can bring more people to actually help them on their path to become a security analyst and an ethical hacker. But number two, the more important thing, is that if you're studying to become a security analyst or ethical hacker, then when you subscribe and turn on that notification bell, that actually helps you, because you get notified the next time a video comes out. And the only thing that I talk about on this channel is cybersecurity analysis and ethical hacking. So that's all we talk about here. And that's basically the topic of all of the videos that we do. And I do multiple posts a day sometimes, but at the very least I do one post a day. I'm trying to get into a flow where I do at least 2 posts a day, and then we just keep going up from there. So it would be a win-win situation. You would be helping yourself, and you would be helping grow the community and grow the channel. So I invite you to like, subscribe, share, turn on the notification bell, and drop a comment just to say hi or ask a question, whatever you want to. And from there, we'll get everything else going. So without further ado, let's jump into the introduction of the room. All right, in this room, we're going to learn how to utilize the Kibana interface to search, filter, and create visualizations and dashboards while investigating VPN logs for anomalies. It's also going to cover a brief overview of ElasticStack components and how they look and work together. So we're going to perform searches, apply a filter, save search, create visualizations, investigate VPN logs, and all of that stuff that's super fun to nerds like us. So let's talk about incident handling, and it's a specific scenario. So we're gonna look at an incident handling scenario here. Alrighty, here's the incident. A US-based company, CyberT, has been monitoring the VPN logs of the employees, and the SOC team detected some anomalies in the activities. Our task as SOC analyst is to examine the logs for January 2022 and identify the anomalies. Some of the key points to note are: all VPN logs are being ingested into the index VPN connections. The index contains VPN logs for January 22. A user, Johnny Brown, was terminated on January 1st. I mean, I can already tell that he's the culprit here. And we observed failed connection attempts against some users that need to be investigated. So Johnny seems to be doing some hacktivities, some things that are not good. So I think this is the dashboard of the tool that we're going to end up using. And we're looking for VPN connections specifically. And we're looking at January to February. And we have 2,861 hits. So that's a lot of stuff to sort through. So let's see here. We're going to first look at the overview of ElasticStack, and then Kibana, and then we're going to go into the rest of the stuff. ElasticStack is the collection of different open source components linked together to help users take the data from any source and perform search, analyze, visualize the data in real time. So we have Elasticsearch, Logstash, Beats, and Kibana. That's what ElasticStack probably does. And so Elasticsearch is a full text search and analytics engine used to store JSON format documents. It's an important component used to store, analyze, perform correlation on the data, and Elasticsearch supports RESTful API. Logstash is a data processing engine used to take the data from different sources, apply a filter, normalize it, and then send it to the destination, which could be Kibana or a listening port. And configuration file is divided into 3 parts. You have the input part, the filter part, and the output part. So the input part is where the user defines the source that the data is going to be coming from. The filter part is where the user specifies the filter option to normalize the log ingested, and then support many filter plugins, obviously. The output is where the user wants the filter data to be sent, and it could be a listening port, it could be another interface, so on and so forth. So that's what Logstash is. Then we have Beats, which is a host-based agent known as data shippers that is used to ship transfer data from the endpoints to Elasticsearch. Each beat is a single purpose agent that sends specific data to the Elasticsearch. All available beats are shown below. So file beat, metric beat, packet beat, winlog beat, audit beat, heart beat, function beat, bunch of beats. And then we have Kibana. Kibana is a web-based data visualization that works with Elasticsearch to analyze, investigate, visualize the data stream, and allows users to create multiple visualizations and dashboards for better visibility. More on Kibana in the following tasks. And so we got beats, goes into Logstash, goes into Elasticsearch, which could be fed into Kibana, and the Kibana feeds back into Elasticsearch, and it just goes back and forth like this over here. And then so data collection agent is beat, data input filter process output is Logstash, index and store data is Elastic, and Kibana analyzes and visualizes. So Logstash is used to visualize the data. That would be nay. I'm going to say no to that. And ElasticStash supports all data formats apart from JSON. And I want to say, is that a yes? Let's see, ElasticStash, where is it? Elasticsearch, ElasticStash. Oh no, I see. So it says it supports all apart from JSON, and that is also no, because it does support JSON. Okay, very good. So we got that. And now we are going to go into the Kibana overview. Kibana, in this room, we're going to explore the different features while investigating the VPN. It's an integral component of ElasticStack that's used to display, visualize, and search logs. And we're going to look over the Discover tab, visualization, and dashboard. So if you've ever seen a log before, it's really not fun to look at a log. It's very freaking overwhelming, especially if it's a big ass log that has thousands of lines of events that has been collected. So it's really not fun, and you like things like this, something that visualizes everything for you and it organizes it, and it's visually pleasing compared to a freaking log file. But then you can do a lot of really neat filters, like just a timeline filter. Just to be able to filter things by time is super useful. But then you can add a bunch of different types of fields and filters to it, and it's just so much more useful. So before moving forward, we're going to deploy the machine or start the attack box, which I have already done. So I'm very excited about that. And when we do deploy our virtual machine and start the attack box, we're going to go into this IP address, and it's going to take us a few minutes to start. And then our username and password is going to be this. So from here, this is where the machine would be, that start machine. And then at the very, very top, there's a blue button. Before it says start attack box, but now it says show split view because the attack box has already been started. So first we're going to go into here, and then we're going to log in to our information here. We're going to go into the browser and log in, and then from there we're going to do the rest of the task. All right, so our machine has loaded. It took about, like it said, it took about 3 to 5 minutes to actually load this thing. And we went into our Firefox browser. We went into the IP address that they gave us and logged in with the information that they told us to use. So just to make this a little bit more user-friendly, I'm going to open this up in a new tab. So we have full screen access. And then from here, we're just going to go and answer the rest of our questions here. So let's talk about the Discover tab of Kibana. I think that's basically what we're using, right? Yeah, we're going to use the Discover tab of Kibana. All right, so the Discover tab is where analysts spend most of their time. So it shows the ingested logs, known as documents, the search bar, normalized fields, a bunch of things. We can search for logs, investigate anomalies, apply filters based on search term or time period. And this is kind of what it looks like. I mean, at first glance, because of all these different red numbers here, it kind of seems a little bit crazy. But so this is the actual individual item that is showing up in and all the timestamps and everything that's attached to it. Number 2 would be the popular fields that you can filter by. Number 3 is the VPN connections or anything else that you want to look at specifically as far as logs are concerned. Number 4 is the search bar. Number 5 is the date or the calendar for which that we can do the range of the time. Number 6 are going to be the graphs that show the number of hits and the frequency and what days, for example, this particular day seems to be high activity. Number 7 is the inspect button up here. 8 is the discover tab, and we can switch between different views with that. And then 9 is adding filters. So this is kind of what it looks like. So the logs or the document is shown as a single document containing information about the event. It shows the fields and values found in that document. The fields pane, left pane of the section right here, this whole thing right here. This is the interface, shows the list of the fields parsed from the logs. We can click on any field to add the field as a filter or remove it from the search. There's the index pattern, shows the index pattern that was available from the list, search bar, time filter, time interval, all of that stuff we already know. And the top bar contains various options to save, search, open to saved, or share, or so on and so forth. So this is the time filter, very, very basic. Quick select is under that little tab where we just click it and it shows you what you want. I mean, this you should already be familiar with because so many different applications use this. This is the timeline, and we can see based on just the number of activity. So the count at the top displays the number of document events that are found during that selected time, and then which specific days or parts of that entire timeline were the busiest. Then you have the index pattern, and in this particular situation, it's the VPN connections that we're interested in. But there's a few different things based on what you have loaded that you could probably go through and try to find and look at. Then you have the left panel fields, which is right here. We have the selected fields and the available fields that we can search from. And then we have the filter option. So you click on something and then you can add it as a filter. So you can do the source IP and is inside the filter, and it's this, right? So that's basically it. So you can see that in the selected field, you can do source IP. This was the value of the source IP, and then you can go ahead and use that to be one of your filters. Now then another one that they're going to add is the destination, right? And they're going to say source state is New York, for example, or is not New York, whatever they wanted to say, right? So that's how you build filters, and it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to understand. And we can even go by Michigan, I guess, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do here. So from here, we're going to be able to create a table, and the documents are shown in raw form. We can click on any document and select important fields to create a table showing only those fields. So for example, the field and the value of the field. And you can show a table that way. And that is pretty much it. So don't forget to save the table format once it's created. It'll show the same fields every time that the user logs into the dashboard. So now we're going to go and run this exercise and see what answers we can find over here, which is freaking exciting. I get excited about very basic things, as you can tell. So I am going to open this up in a different window just so I can access it a little bit easier, and we'll run into it. We'll run it. All right, when we first load Kibana, this is what it looks like over here. So we got to click on this left side over here and go into the Discover tab, because that's what we want to be using to answer most of our questions right now. And the first question is select the index VPN connections and filter from December 31st to February 2nd. How many hits are returned? So we're going to be filtering from December 31st, which is going to be right here. So we're going to go here and I'm going to click on that and I'm going to do absolute. and I'm going to go December, and it's, oh, December 31st, 2021. So that's the other thing. So we're going to go from there, and we're going to choose December 31st, 2021. And then here we're going to do absolute again. We're going to go to February of 2021, and it's going to be February 2nd, 2021. And we're going to do that. So we're going to run these two dates, and then we're going to do update. My bad, it was supposed to be December 31st, 2021 and February 2nd, 2022. Obviously, it can't go backwards. So, okay, so now we have this, and it says how many hits were generated, and the answer is right there, 2,861. So 2861 is going to be the answer for that. Which IP address has the max number of connections? So let's try to find that. So if we click on the source IP, it just says right here that the top 5 values are this thing, and it shows that out of all of these hits, 3.2% of them belongs to this particular IP address. So I'm just going to copy that one and see if this is actually the answer that we want. And it is. So just like that, very easy to find. Which user is responsible for the max traffic? So let's see inside our fields right here, there's a username. And so if we go over here, for the max traffic, there's this guy named James that has 4% of the traffic, and that's actually the answer. So now what we want to do is we want to create a table with the fields IP, username, source country, and save it. So let's do that. So I think one way that we could do this is we could just click on the field itself and then press this little plus button, and it would add it as a column to our table. So there we go. So what we want is the IP, username, and source country. So we added username, and we're going to add IP, and we also want source country. And so that now it's all over here. And now we can zoom out of this, and now we have our table right here. So the next question says, apply the filter on the username Amanda, and which source IP has the max hits. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a filter, and we're going to say that the filter itself is the username. So where is it? Right there, username. The username is, and it's Amanda with an E, so E-M-A, there she is, Amanda. And there we go. And just like that, we're going to save it. And then it should say how many hits. So we got 56 hits for Amanda. And it says which source IP has the maximum number of hits. So here's another one that's good. So we're going to go on source IP here and click on source IP. And the maximum number of hits for Amanda is this source IP. So we're going to copy that source IP and paste it here. And just like that, that's the right answer. So on January 11th, which IP caused the spike observed in the time chart? So if we look back over here and we look at the time right here, this is January 24th, January 23rd, 22nd, and we can come here. This is January 16th. So where is it? January 7th, January 14th. So I think I need to remove this filter because that is now messing with our data. So there it is. That's the January 11th data. So the question now says, which IP caused the spike in the time chart on January 11th? And we have this over here. So if we look at it, let's make sure that we actually have the right thing. I feel like I may have kind of messed that up. So if I click back, okay, there we go. We have January 11th, 280, and we want to see which IP caused the spike on this day. So how could we check that out? So I just clicked on January 11th one more time, and I'm going to go and sort this. So we want to sort in, I guess, descending, just to see the number of IP. I mean, this is literally the IP that shows up the most. So it's the 172.201.60.191. That seems to be the IP address. So we're going to go here and paste that in there. And I think since we already did that, so if I just go to source IP again and click on this, and it should show me, yeah, there you go. It actually shows the values as well. So without having to scroll through that, we could just look at this and it shows us the top IPs. So now, last question, how many connections were observed from IP 238 excluding the New York State? So we're going to create a filter for ourselves again, and from here we're going to go back and we want to look at all of the dates one more time. So we're going to go to 2021 December, and it's going to be December 31st, and it's going to go all the way to 2022 February, and I think it was February 2nd, right? So if I update this, yeah, 2861, so there you go. And so now I want to add a new filter here, and it's going to be, the first filter is the IP address. So the IP is going to be source IP is, and the value is 238 163 231 224. So that's the first one, and it excludes the state of New York. So we're going to go here, and the state, so state, let's go find state, and there it is. And we're going to say the state is not the state of New York. So just click on that and save that. And now we have our data. So now it says how many connections were observed in this time, and the answer is 48. And that is indeed the right answer. And just like that, we have all of our questions answered from this. And this is, I mean, you gotta admit, that was freaking super easy. That was really, really easy to do. Very, very excited about this Kibana tool. I love this SIEM pathway. I hate looking at log files. Okay, I cannot stand it. And so the fact that something like this exists, and we're getting into all the juicy stuff, all the good stuff. I'm so excited about this. You don't understand. Okay, moving on. We're gonna look at the KQL overview. KQL stands for the Kibana query language, and it's a search query language used to search logs and documents. Apart from the KQL language, Kibana also supports Lucene query language, and we can disable the KQL query as shown. So right here in the search bar, you could literally click on that little thing at the end of it, and then you could turn it on or off. And so I'm guessing if it's off, it's going to default to Lucene. If it's on, it's going to be KQL. And so from here, we're going to explore the syntax. So free text search, and then the field-based search. So if you want to look at something, for example, a simple term being security will return our documents that contain this term irrespective of the field. So it'll be everywhere. But if we look at the index, which includes VPN logs, one of the fields is source country, and it's the list of countries where the connections originated as shown below. And so from here, we can search for United States, and it'll show, it's going to return all the logs that contain this term regardless of the place or the field. This search returned 2,304 hits. And now if we do United, it's not going to show anything because it's inside quotes, right? So it's searching for exactly that, and so it's not going to show anything. Then you have the wildcard. So it could be United wildcard, and it's not in quotes, and it's 2,304 again because everything has to do with United, but I'm guessing that will also show United Kingdom. You know what I mean? It could also show United Nations, right? So that's kind of what it's like. And then we have and, or, and then not, which are the various operators. So you could do United States or England, and it will show everything, including United States and or England. And then you have the and operator, so United States and Virginia. And you have to have that in the source states. I don't think, yeah, I guess, I don't know if you have to actually activate the field to be able to search for it like that, but it can show you that. So if it's United States and Virginia, then it'll only show 304 hits versus the number of hits that were previously there. And then you have the not operator, which is United States and not Florida. So everything that's in the US but not Florida, right? So it would show Virginia, Maine, Tennessee, Michigan, so on and so forth. And you have the field-based search, which would be the field and then the value, which is the syntax of this. So it would be source IP and then the value, and the username is Suleiman, and that would show a certain number of results, right? So explanation, we're telling Kibana to display all the documents with the field source IP containing that value and the username as Suleiman. Pretty standard, basic. So we're going to create a search query to filter out the logs from source country as the United States and show logs for the user name or Albert, how many records were returned. So let's try to create a query for that. So the piece of that could be source country, could be one of the things right here, and we could do United States, right? And so we'll do and as our next piece. Username could be, what did they say? James and Albert, right? So James or Albert. So username would be James or username would be Albert. So let's see if this is the right one. So if we update this, we're going to get no results. So that can't be it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to delete these previous filters that we had here. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so in this case, we now have 161 hits. So let's see if that's right. And that is right. So that was a good query. So that's the query. Source country is United States and username James or username Albert, and it gives us 161 hits. Very good. So it says, as user Johnny Brown was terminated on January 1st, 2022, create a search query to determine how many times a VPN connection was observed after his termination. So now we're going to look at some other things right here. So let's see. We're going to do, there's an event time. So event time, and that's going to be, the event time is just going to be January. We're going to do, the format is January 1st, 2022. That's going to be the event time. And the type of the connection, or we're going to do and username will be Johnny Brown. Press enter. Let's see what we can find. Can't find results. So the event time, so maybe we can do this and press username Johnny Brown, see what shows up. And it's just one hit. So that's all we got. And it just so happens that it was January 7th. So create a launch query to determine how many times it was done after his termination. And the answer is 1. So all we had to do was just search for Johnny Brown. Johnny Brown. I don't know what you did, buddy, but you got terminated. Okay, so there is that. And now we can go into the create visualizations. Who doesn't love a good graph, right? So tables, pie charts, bar charts, a bunch of different types of visualizations can be created here. So the information, let's see how they're doing it. Or maybe we can, there's also a correlation option. And then we can also do a create table as we saw already. And then we have the save the lens visualization. So after creating visualizations, you can create and click on save. Add the title, we can add the visualization to anything, click save and add it to the library when we're done. And then you can do all of that by creating the visualization specifically, right? So the way that can be done is that we can go and create a filter. We would add it over here, and it's going to be failed action, and then create a username and drop that. I see. So once you've done visualization, and I think this is inside the visualized library. So based on what this shows right here, we can just start adding things based on that visualization. And that's what it looks right here. So this is, you can also just go from the individual items right there, and then click on visualize, and it will show you how to do it. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and there's a lot of different options at the bottom for the visualization itself. So we can get to it in multiple different ways. We can actually just go to the visualize library manually and start creating and start adding items to it, or we can add things, or we can click on the filters and then just click on visualize. So which user was observed with the greatest number of failed attempts? So let's go here and then let's see if we can find something for the action, right? So we're looking for an action, and the action itself could be a bunch of different things. So we're going to first get rid of our username Johnny Brown and update our stuff so that it's back to 2861. And then the action that we want is tear down, build, and there's a bunch of different things. So first we're going to add a filter where the action would be failed attempts. So action is, and the option is failed. So action is failed. And then we're going to save that. And now we have that. And so we can click on username and visualize, just to get the hang of this visualization thing. And it's one user. So it's not a lot of different users that have been here. And that user is Simon. So let's go over here and add Simon to the list. And how many wrong VPN connection attempts were observed in January? So we can go back here and go to discover, and we can leave these things unchanged. That's fine. And the question is, one more time, is how many wrong VPN connection attempts were made in January? So the field that we want to look for was probably going to also be action. So I'm going to remove action, failed, and see if we can find anything else apart from that. So this time I just visualized the action filter, or the action field, and this is what it looked like. And we have failed attempts 274, and since we're in the connection log, the VPN connection log, I would assume that that's what it is. So the failed attempts is literally right there, and the answer actually is 274. So we got that, and that is indeed the right answer for that. And so now we can move on. So there you go, that's the right answer. And we can move on to creating a dashboard. And creating dashboards doesn't seem to have a specific task question for us. So I'm just going to mark it as complete. But essentially we could just create custom dashboards. So we can go to the dashboard tab and create a new one, and then we can add from the library and save any visualized searches. We can add any other items accordingly on visualizations and save searches, items that are added, adjust them accordingly, and don't forget to save the dashboard after completing it. So that is as simple as going here, clicking on dashboard, and since we don't have a dashboard, we can create one from scratch, and you just create new, and then we can do, a create visualization if we wanted to, and we can save the visualization. That's going to take too many steps, so I'm just going to go and add from the library and country with top traffic. That could be one of the things over here, right? And there you go. That's what it looks like when you just add it to the dashboard. And you have all types. So we can do a map, for example. It's unable to visualize the map. That's unfortunate. So there's that. What do we got? We got Canada, England. That's going to be all of our types over here. Let's see, we could do a log stream. Could we do that? There are nothing, so check to nothing to put in here on the log stream. And then anything under library, anything else that we can add under library. And there is nothing. There's only 4 types of things. Lens visualizations, one type, and we just remove that. So there's 4 types. I guess we would have to manually create them. Oops, I accidentally shrunk it down. I guess we would have to manually create our visualizations and all the different things that we want, but this is kind of where you can go to do it. If I would have saved the other visualizations that we had, we would have been able to also import them over here but I didn't, and I kept canceling out and not saving. So that's, I guess, kind of the issue with that. But you can go to dashboard and you can create your own custom dashboard with visualizations using Elastic. So very, very cool tool. Overall, very cool experience to be able to use the ELK 101 room, which combines a few different things, which happens to be the ElasticStack Overview. So we have all of these things that were combined to give us this wonderful thing right here through Elastic. So very, very cool tool. And we are now going to do the conclusion of this, which I don't think even requires one. So we could just read through it. We briefly explored the ELK components, and we learned how to search and query a log, apply filters, create visualizations, and how to investigate the VPN log. And just like that, we are now done with the Investigating with ELK 101 room. All right, so if you learned anything from this video, if you got any tips out of it, if you found any use from it, and if you found anything from my channel that you found useful, one of the big things that I would very much love if you could do would be to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and of course, leave a comment. Any of those activities that you do will actually help the YouTube algorithm find us and give us a little bit more reach so that we can expand the community and grow the channel and do all those great things and help as many people as we can down this path of cybersecurity analysis and ethical hacking, security, all that stuff. So the second thing that's pretty useful when you do that is if you subscribe and turn on notification bell, you actually get notified the next time that a video comes out, and you will continue down this path with us. And if you're starting to become a security analyst, or if you're starting to become an ethical hacker, all of these videos will actually be very helpful to you directly, because that's literally all we talk about on this channel. So it would mean the world to me if you could like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that stuff. But I think it's also very useful for you if you did something like that. So it'd be a great win-win type of a situation. This is your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. And I hope you got value out of this video. I will definitely see you in the next one. Peace, love, and chicken grease. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. I'll see you in the next room. Later.